Good afternoon. Welcome to the Special Events Partnership Grant Administration Workshop. Now, congratulations on getting this grant. Now we're going to give you some tips through this workshop to make it easier for you to follow the steps that you need to follow and easier for you to get your reimbursements. I'm Martine Collier. I'm the Division Director of the Arts Council. But I'm going to introduce Eileen Blake, who will be conducting this workshop, and there will be plenty of time at the end of the workshop for any questions that you have. So Eileen, take it away.
Hi, first things first, Lisa, for some reason we can't see the screen anymore. Are you still sharing? Have you looked at something else?
I think I made the screen so that I could hit something to see people. So
Yeah,
let me
so
stop sharing and then I'm going to share again. Okay.
Here, I'm just gonna share the screen and then so we can.
I got it.
You got it?
I got
okay.
it. Yeah, there it is.
So yeah,
sorry about
make sure we stay here and don't put anything else on the screen for a minute, please.
Yeah, I was just seeing if everybody was in.
Thanks, everyone. Sorry for the slight technical malfunction here. So we'll get going. If you don't mind hitting the next slide, Lisa, we'll just talk about what we're going to cover here today.
I'd like to do that.
Okay, I'm gonna share the presentation. So just give
Please do.
Yeah.
Mine's glitching somehow or another.
Sorry about this, everyone. Just give us 1 second here. And okay. Lisa, can you confirm that you see my screen, please?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, here we go, guys. So just want to say welcome again. On the call right now, we have Martine Collier, our division director, who just spoke, myself, Eileen Blake. We also have Kathy Collins, who is a program manager for some of the other Arts at Council grants, not this one, and Lisa Hill, who is the coordinator for this grant program. We're going to be covering a variety of topics here today. I'm going to start off with covering the agreement, publicity, and then we'll get into things like requests for payment. So just a brief rundown, like what is this? We are obviously funding you all for different arts and culture special event grants around the county with an emphasis on tourism and community building. Congrats, if you're on this call, you've kind of already made it through most of the process. The application, the BOCC has agreed to your award, and most of you have definitely already received your agreement and probably had the opportunity to sign it, send it back, and we've been getting these executed. So thank you for kind of keeping up with that. Obviously, the events that are taking place must happen in Hillsborough County in order to remain eligible. And if there are any changes, please let us know. It's not a big deal if you do have a change, but I just want to emphasize that we do need to kind of know what's going on with the event. We'll get to this in a minute because we come out and join you at a lot of these events and make sure that things are going the way they were described in the application. So if there's a different venue change or something going on, we just need to know about it. We'll get into a more detailed explanation about all the payment requests, but just, briefly, just to make sure that you need to make sure you have the Exhibit C and Exhibit D and things like your budget details or the specific requirements for that specific payment. And we'll get into publicity again more in a second, but we want you to make sure you're using the Hillsborough County logo at the event as well. And if you do not have it, please let me know. I'll reach out to the communications department and we will make sure that you get the correct version so that you can use it at your event. Okay, so first things first, just please remember that you are actually entering into a legal contract with Hillsborough County. So a lot of the things we're describing just do really need to happen. So please keep in mind that they are required. You'll see, your whole application is actually included in the agreement. So you'll have your dollar amount for the award. You'll have your entire application describing the event that you guys have decided to do. And that is part of the term of the funding, right? So you need to describe it. as written, if there is a change, you need to let us know. We have also in the contract that you'll need to provide up to 10 tickets. These are so that staff can come monitor the event and make sure that this is happening the way that it was described. If there's parking, please include the parking for us. We also share this with the BOCC and the Cultural Assets Commission members to make sure that they get an opportunity to attend if they wish to attend and see all the cool, amazing things that you guys are doing. We also ask that you please try to send us the tickets and the information about attending these events at least 2 weeks in advance if possible, because we want to make sure that BOCC members who want to attend are able to attend, and it's easier for their scheduling and their calendar if we have it at least 2 weeks in advance. Just 1 second. Okay, and then obviously also if the event is canceled for any reason, please let us know that. Basic rundown for how this works is that if you have already received the first payment, you don't actually need to return it. We will forward that into the next year's funding. So what happens basically is if you already have money from us, the next year we'll deduct that same amount. So you can still get an award that totals out to something similar. And then this has never really needed to happen, but just as an FYI that we do have the right to terminate the agreement if we need to, or if funding for some reason is not available. That happened once during the pandemic and really has not been an issue since. And back to publicity, a little bit more actual information here for you. At the event, we do ask you guys to display the logo in kind of the same recognition and size and manner as other similar sponsors. And if you have any kind of media that you're doing, please remember to acknowledge the Hillsborough County BOCC for their support. Similarly, like if you have a website for the event, you can link and put the county logo on the website. And again, if you have any questions about this, I'm happy to help. And if you need the logo, let Lisa or I know, and we'll make sure that you get it from the communications department. So at this point, we're going to let Lisa kind of come in here and start talking a little bit about the request for payment.
Hello, how are you doing today? So what we want to go through is each one of the payments. So first payment we'll cover for is the, let's back up a little minute. First, we're going to look at the exhibit C and D because we want to make sure you understand how to fill those exhibits out. So when you're looking at exhibit C, it's going to go ahead and outline how much each payment is going to be. It's specific to your grant and your grant only. So it's already been calculated. So you don't want to change the amount of the award for payment 1, 2, or 3. It's what it is, and that's what you're going to request. This is an example of a payment 1. So you have your request number, the amount of payment at the top, and then in the chart you're going to show your current request. For this one, it's only payment 1, so it would be the first amount, and then 0 for the amount paid because you haven't been paid yet, and then the balance on that line item is going to be 0. Then the second payment will be 0, 0, and then continue forward as you go along. And I can work with anybody on this in very specific ways and give you an example of your own personal exhibit C if you would like. Exhibit D is also required. Exhibit D talks about what's needed in each of the payments. So for the first payment, it's really important that you understand that this is a pre-event payment. It's upfront 40%. As soon as you get your agreement that has been fully executed and sent back to you in an email, which a lot of you have already received that back from me, and it's available to you as soon as you get that in. It does take me a little bit to get that financing set up, and then I will work on getting that first payment out to you as soon as possible. That's the first 40%. It's very important also to note in this case that this is the only time you can change anything related to your budget. And that's really important because at the end of the day, if your budget is less than what you put in the application and you haven't changed it, it can affect your full payment, which we'll get into in a little bit. With this payment, we need that Exhibit C, we need Exhibit D, but we also need some backup. That would be the evidence of securing your venue, your proposed event schedule, your programming, what's going to happen at the event. If you have a list of your talent that's already been scheduled to be performing or anything like that, we want to know what the performance schedule is. We need that material revision of your budget, which means anything that changed in your budget that's significant. And if you have any updates on your marketing plan, we want to know that too for the event. So with all of that information, we can then proceed with payment 1, which is your 40% upfront. When we get into payment 2, it's another 40%, and it is a post-event 40%. So as soon as you have your event, you can turn around and request this second payment, which is 40%. That would also require that we have a full C and D. Every time you do a payment, you have to have those separately done. But then in the requirements and the background of what we need to support that payment request is a description of your event. We want to know how to go. Did you have any problems with it? We've had issues with hurricanes, of course, weather-related events, things like that. Anything that happened that was really significantly wonderful, you had a way more turnout than you thought you would have in your application, and that's something we really want to highlight. So getting to that, we do want to know preliminary numbers of your attendance at your event, whether you had who you had as event, not specifically who, but that you had vendors and the type of if they're entertainment and different things like that, or are they artists that were out there, such as when we're doing the art festivals and things like that. Summary of your programmed activities that actually occurred. So that would be similar to what you put in for your preliminary, but a actual full program that happened of an event, scheduling and things like that. We also want to make sure you give us proof of the Hillsborough County logo being used, or the acknowledgement that Eileen had discussed in the beginning as part of the grant agreement requirements. The proof of the event is another thing we need to know. That can be flyers, handouts, videos, things like that. News articles, stories, photographs, any of those kinds of things are always really good support for what's going on and to prove that you had your event. Now, we do try to get out to every event. We've been trying to go to everybody's event. Now, if you're one of the people that has multiple events, we may not hit every single one of them. We're going to try to do at least one throughout the year. So we will also know that and note that when we're out there. And the third payment is kind of a rehash sum of what happened in payment 2, but there's more to it than that. And this is for your final 20%. This is really important that you understand. We need to know not just the description of the event and everything, but there's also a requirement for showing your cash expenses. We don't want you to include anything that's in kind or any volunteer hours or anything like that. You can note that within your description, but when you're doing your actual numbers, we need to know actual cash expenses. And then we also require that you put in any revenue you brought in. If you add the Special Events Partnership Grant Award as part of your revenue, try not to do that, but if you do, note it as such so that we can back it out, because we need to know what the other revenue was, not just including what we already had awarded you. We also need the final numbers for the event attendance, vendors used, artists and entertainment programs like that the Hillsborough County logo has been used and the acknowledgement made, as well as those proofs of events having occurred. Can be the same exact thing you sent me in 2. If it's sufficient for 2, it would probably be okay for this. But the most important thing in 3 is your budget being up to date and fully filled out. We want to know that if you said you were going to spend money on performances of $50,000, that you actually came up close to that. Maybe you spent 48, which is fine. However, the other thing is you need to remember is there is a requirement that if there is something that's really deviant from the application and the expenses noted in the application, we may withhold this 20%. Doesn't happen very often, but it can happen.
Hi, I just want to also
You want to add
quickly
something?
just start throwing out here. I do want to emphasize the attendance and vendors and artist entertainment kind of numbers. We actually use that internally, so those things are really
Yes,
important
very
to
important.
us for our own data and tracking. So just to help you guys wrap your minds around like why we're asking for some of this, it's part of how we kind of track and talk about the impact of this program. I'll let you take it away again, Lisa.
So this is a really important note as well. Within the grant agreement, there are terms, and in those terms, it requires that all grant payment requests to be submitted within 60 days of your date event. If your event occurred on November 1st, then you would have to have it within 60 days, which is around January 1st or 2nd, actually, but if you calculate the 60 days out. Now you can request a one-time only grant extension of 60 days to finalize your budget if you haven't gotten all of your information in on what was spent and what all your revenues haven't come in. We can, if requested, but you have to put that into our office at least 2 weeks before that 60-day deadline, because it does take a minute. People have to approve it, and we have to make sure that we have the ability to approve it before that 60-day ends. If there is a form for it, we will send you that out. I also keep track of things like that. So I have a calendar that shows exactly when your 60 days ends and also when your additional 60 days will end. So this is a really important piece to remember. It is part of the grant agreement that you're signing, and we need to make sure we get our payments in or an extension within a period of time to comply with that grant agreement. The other thing is that the clerk's office utilizes the address noted on the W-9 that you filled out when you sent it in with the agreement. So if there's a different address or anything and you're having things sent to you, we need to know that. Send us a new W-9 or whatever. Probably new W-9 would be the most important thing. It's because we can then send it to the clerk's office. Direct deposit, if you've signed up for it, great. That'll make it a whole lot easier for you to get your money back. And that is done through the clerk's office only. We don't touch any of that. And if you haven't done it, there was a form that was attached to the agreement when it was sent to you originally for signature. If you don't have it, send me an email. I'll resend it out to you if you're interested in doing that. It does get mailed to the clerk's office, though. And as we talked about a little bit a second ago, the final 20% can be withheld if the actual cash expenses are significantly different from the estimated ones that you used in your application. Now, records retention is also part of the grant agreement requirements. You do need to maintain accurate financial records for, oh, I see a typo, sorry, no less than 6 years, which is including your attendance records, your vendor records, your performance reports, anything else that's related to this agreement. You would want to keep them in a separate file. You would want to make sure you have all your expenses and your revenues related to the agreement. I would keep all copies of payments out, receipts in, and everything into one file so that if we are going through an audit or we have to reach out to you, it's easy for you to find. These requirements are outlined in the agreement and also under the Florida statute. These are some helpful links. We just recently have a new Arts Council webpage that was put together for us, and it looks very similar to the old one, but it is new. And this is a link to that new Arts Council webpage. We also suggest that you keep just be aware of the Cultural Assets Commission. So this is a link to them. They are, of course, your body that did the initial scoring and review of your application for forwarding to the Board of County Commissioners. Then we have our manual for the Special Events Partnership on our Special Events Partnership grant page. This was also sent to you when I did the agreement that was fully executed. So you have a copy there, or you can look at it here. It's kind of a really handy manual reference for anything that you may have a question about on the Special Events Partnership. We also, as part of our Arts Council webpage, we do have a place where you can submit your events. And this is where it is. When you're in the events, I've been putting them in for you as I've been getting them and setting them up so that they're on the calendar and people know about your events. But if you get a chance to do it and you want to look yourself, see what's out there even, you want to go to the Arts Council website and then scroll all the way down if you want to submit. Excuse me.
Okay. Lisa, are you good?
Yeah, I need a
Okay.
drink.
All right, so I'm just going to cover this for a second because Lisa's teasing a little bit here. But obviously, you guys can reach out to us about anything that you need at any point. This or the manual doesn't really take the place of. If you need advice, you can always contact us, and we'll also send you these slides so that you can have the helpful links and our contact information and everything after we're done here today. And from here, we're just going to go into questions, and I'm going to just continue the slideshow so that I can see everybody and see if you're asking anything.
Anybody have any questions for us?
Yeah, you can put it in the chat or you can unmute if you want to talk to us directly. Not really
Anybody?
seeing anything though, so.
And I was going to say, of course, reach out to me. I'm always willing to walk through anything you have a question about and try to figure it out for you. Both Eileen and I are always willing to pitch in and do whatever needs to move it forward the smoothest way as possible.
Yes, and since I'm really seeing no questions happen here, which is a first, but I'm gonna say that this is a good thing. Since there don't appear to be a lot of questions, we'll just like give you back your time, and otherwise we'll just be sending out a PDF with these slides later. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, and have a nice weekend.
Yes, have a good weekend. Bye, everyone.